Hey there, Spodes. Welcome back to another episode of Two Spodes. This time it's me, Bayo Olukotun, with our frequent guest friends, Patrick Lopez. Jake Williams wasn't able to make it this time around. And we did try to have on a longtime friend of mine, a longtime industry guy, Brian Wallace. Brian is the current owner of the Lake Elsinore motocross track, along with his business partner, Jason Baker from Dream Tracks. He was trying to do the recording from the tractor. He was working nonstop and trying to make a better track for Southern California, and it didn't quite work out, but hopefully we'll have him back on next time around. Fortunately, Apilo was able to go to the Salt Lake City Supercross and got to see all of the amazing storylines come together and just the fantasy fairy tale that is Ken Roczen's story come to fruition when he finally got the Supercross title last weekend. So get his on-site report from that. Then, of course, we get into a little bit of nationals talk with, of course, who's coming up, drum roll, Haiden Deegan, Danger Boy. Of course, he's going to be making his 450 debut this coming weekend at Paula Raceway, which Brian Wallace used to run and build the national track for. Then finally, last but not least, we get into a little bit of a discussion about the nationals and how they're covered, specifically with former pros like Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart. Not just former pros, the best former pros ever. And especially why the GOAT on and off the track really should be still considered the GOAT for many reasons. So hope you guys enjoy this next episode of Two Spodes.
It was really good. Like working backwards, shoot the racing. Yeah, the racing was insane. Just the moment was insane. The energy was insane. Yeah, it was pretty special for, I think, everybody. I don't think for everybody. I know for everybody, honestly.
How can you not be pumped for the guy? For the whole team, really. You know,
for both of them. For both of them. It was just like, and the best thing was, I know this is how I felt, and I feel like other people felt too. It's if you ain't falling, you ain't trying. It was almost like the way it went, the way it happened for Hunter was actually okay. Dude, you were trying. You guys were redlining. You guys were going to redline that thing or whatever it was going to take. So I think in a way, it's like, imagine if he would have just followed him. Granted, he was going faster in certain spots. There were spots you could see start to develop where one guy was going quicker than the other. But realistically, it's almost like, can you imagine if he followed him to second place or rather to not win? It's like he went out pushing, dude. They both were.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because, yeah, he was starting to lose them a little bit. He was starting to lose the toe a little bit. But, yeah, he pushed, you know, and if anything, Prado maybe lit a fire a little bit. That's why I think Prado is why he fell. But if he hadn't fallen, that would have meant he wasn't going fast enough. So there was never a chance that he was going to catch him unless Kenny messed up, which the way he was riding, that wasn't going to happen. You could just tell he was being so careful. He had that push going early on, but he never had that crazy sprint speed or anything like that. He was just slowly, like, they were both riding just fast enough to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, but definitely not. I don't think either of them were on the edge. But
well, neither of them had a good day. Ken didn't have a good day. He's on a new motor package, whole deal, which granted, maybe the bike felt like sea level now. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that was definitely a new motor package for round 17 of a 1 point different championship. So he wasn't having the best day. Ate shit in the heat race, whole deal. And then I know Hunter was going well. If anything, Hunter was having a better day. He mopped them up in Denver on a similar track as far as being slippery. So I think if anything, I kind of thought Hunter was just going to kind of, I feel like Hunter kind of checked to see if he could beat him and was like, oh shit. Okay. I could beat him. And then I think then you're going to see a little yo-yo. I didn't really think about Prado coming up because I was there watching in the stadium. So I haven't watched on TV. So I didn't really think about Prado being that close and maybe causing an issue, which I hope isn't the case for whatever. But I think if anything, it was just those guys never look like they're redlining. But anybody that rides or has raced dirt bikes knows that, dude, you're always about to fall sometimes, just no matter what, dude. Yeah. And I think blowing off the track he ran out of track, he ran out of room. Like he said, he's pushing the bike past its limit. They never look like it. Kevin Windham never looked like it. Dungey didn't really look like it until they go down. You're like, oh shit. It's just kind of what we were talking about earlier with RC. Like there's just certain riders, they were trying, dude, like to be up front like that. So they were trying.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's not a lack of effort. Just there's just so many variables. Like you said, I mean, it's a dirt bike. You're always about to fall. There's like any moment you could fall. It could be any little thing. And it just, but you could tell that they were, I think both of them had, at least in those early laps, I think both of them had a lot more to get. They both could have gone faster. They were just like, it's not worth this early on. It's not worth blowing it.
I think I think so. But I think kind of going back to Denver where Ken could not catch him. Now granted, he did a little bit of math. He knew that like, hey, listen, like getting out 1 point in front's fine. But when we get to Salt Lake, I'm not going to have that option. So I think it's like getting into Salt Lake. I mean, I think in the back of your mind, you got to think. And I was at Denver also. So I went the last two. And it's like, you would just hate to see one of them get away and just be like, holy shit, I cannot catch him. And both those guys have that. They're consistent and they're consistently really fast. So it's like at one point, if one of those guys gets away and you're just like, shit, I can't catch him. And I think that might have been where Hunter was like, okay, they both know where each other's at mentally, where there's no probably game. You're probably thinking to yourself, shit, if he starts getting away and decides to go, damn, this is going to be a problem.
I think that's, I felt like at different times this year, both of them like mid-race uncorked a little bit more than what they'd shown. So I think both of them have that ability to kind of answer the call. But yeah, other than that, like knowing that they both have that ability, I agree. Like, I don't think either of them had any mental games going into it. It was just like, just stay up and let the cards fall as they may. And fortunately, they both got the start, and Kenny made that very, very clutch move right in that second turn. And that was, it was a little aggressive. I think it would have really would have sucked if Hunter had gone down there, but fortunately he didn't. And, Hunter knew that was going to be coming. If it was going to be coming, it would have been from Roczen. I think they both played it really well. In his fall, it wasn't like Prado was right on him. It's not like he was messing with him at all. It was just this constant pressure coming up from behind. And it was basically like, I think Hunter knew that if Prado gets around him, then there it all goes.
Yeah.
If he could stay in second, at least there's a chance, something happens to Kenny, gets caught up in lappers, he could capitalize. But so that's why I think that push, that extra little pressure from behind is what kind of, I think, factored into
I would agree with that. Breathing room. I mean, a lot of times those guys could break away to where, they have 4 seconds, where they can at least go back. Hey, I'm going to take this lap off or whatnot, regroup, and then go.
Totally.
Yeah, there was no he didn't have an opportunity to regroup. He's going to have to go through a guy after he regroups or something like that. Yeah, I can see that. And then actually, now that I think about it too, kind of going back to just Hunter, if you look back at Denver, Hunter had to do that. He did not have a choice but to win that race. You go into the next race, 4 or 6 down. Now you're like, dude, now you got to go cause a problem,
you really need
people to come up to him. So if you think about it, actually, Hunter was in no different spot. He had to go win that race. And I know there's, you know what I'm saying? So him in second place, he still had to. So in a way, and just kind of dawning on me, because obviously, again, I was there in the stadium just watching, and that's difficult sometimes. But it's almost like, Hunter had to push. He had to. He had to win both of them. He had to win out. He had to win round 16. He had to win round 17 to win. He was halfway there.
He was so close. Yeah, and it really was, I bet if there's any one thing that's, replaying in his mind, if that's something that he does, I would think it's that second turn. Stay a little bit closer, don't open it up as much.
Yeah.
And because if he had gone, I don't think Kenny was really faster than him anywhere or during the main event. It was just, and especially in the qualifier, Hunter had him, no problem.
No, you're right, dude. That turn.
I think if it really comes down to it, because but otherwise through Denver, he played it all right, and it was really, you were right. I mean, it was the tiebreaker basically would have come to Hunter because he had more podiums and he would have had it. And it was just, I mean, it was like an ideal scenario, winner take all. It was just great. I mean, I think it's kind of great when, obviously it would have been nice if Kenny had held on to it at the finish, but you get Chase Sexton finally has something, gets a win, then they all bunch up at the end, and there's that extra stress of like, even Jess and Simon and I were all watching it together, just like, hearing Simon just yell like, go Kenny, go Kenny, go, just like over and over, like the whole main event. It was great. But, that whole like last 2 laps when they all bunch up and there's Webb and Prado and Stewart and all those was just like so tense. And you're just like, just hold on to it. Like that last lap, Kenny looked like a novice. But
it was wild.
It was like, it was an ideal scenario. Like you were saying last week, like this is the best championship that you can remember. And I think maybe 2009 title with Stewart and Reed was a really good one. That was really close. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just never been so tight. It was just awesome. And just the story of Kenny is just amazing.
But both their stories. I think the reason why, to me, the modern 4-stroke 450 era, to me, it's hands down the best one ever. It's such a pure rivalry, like such a pure, like perfect rivalry of even the families the way they are, the teams the way they are. Yeah, just I think all of it. I mean, definitely the Reed, all that stuff was really cool back then. Obviously, they didn't like each other in ways because of their competitiveness. But
that was a rivalry of like titans. They were the best guys, and these were the unexpected guys, which made it that much better. They're both the underdogs.
Yeah, no disrespect to anybody, but there was one Titan back then, and one person trying to go take the Titan down.
Sure.
I love Chad Reeds. He rides amazing. The guy is so awesome.
Yeah.
But he wasn't on Stewart's level, He was almost on his level in every way. But nobody was. No one was. Whereas these two, again, the everything, the way they the bikes, just again the modern 450 era of like man and machine, and just the way they all work, the way these bikes work, and I mean it's insane. Like what we just got to watch, it's like there's nothing. I swear there's just nothing like it. I mean, honestly, in the stadium, dude, they chanted Kenny, myself included, just screaming like a basketball game, dude. From what I heard is you couldn't hear it on the TV. The whole stadium, Kenny, the whole stadium.
A little bit, but definitely not in that way.
The whole stadium.
That's awesome.
It was insane, dude. And like for 6 laps, the crowd, like, insane. And I honestly believe if it would have been Hunter, the same shit would have happened. I'm not even kidding. Because I would have been like, you know what? Fuck it. No, like, hold on. Maybe not the same level, because Kenny really takes you on a ride as a fan. But there was nobody in there like, it wasn't like a, yeah, hell yeah, I told you, like in the crowd. It was just more like a, whoa, okay. Now that we got to all let our exhale and be like, okay, that's our winner. That's our champion. So I think even if Hunter would have won, that still would have been like our series champion.
I think so. But, even say what you will about Diffie, but, I think he even said like Kenny's the people's champ, and like, yes, I agree that people would have been stoked for Hunter. I don't think there would have been anybody saying, he didn't deserve it, or, booing him or anything like that, or talking crap on him. But I also don't think that if the roles were reversed and Kenny was the one that went down in second place, there wouldn't have been any cheers going on. Maybe a couple from some Aussies.
Yeah, no cheers, because we didn't cheer immediately. The crowd didn't cheer right away. It was just like, oh, fuck. And then you're like, shit, okay, damn. Then you're like, okay, like.
Yeah, you want to see a good race.
Now we're like, okay, fuck. We were just already clapping for the chant is really what it came down to. But I do not think it would have been on the same level because of just the amount of time that us as fans have spent with Kenny here, watching him go. But man, it was just like, again, I think that's why the level of this one is just so high. And an ode to Salt Lake City fans, like that state. There's a reason why it's the Utah State Athletic sponsors like events, because those people know what's up, what they're watching.
Absolutely. They know good competition.
And they know motorcycle racing and stuff. Like 54,000 people were in there. Now, it wasn't Anaheim 1 with little shitheads with broccoli hair, running around with their girlfriend, like, whoa, like missing the race. No one misses the race in Utah. Like, props to Utah just as a motorcycling, dirt biking, community. So I
Probably
think it's
maybe a good reason why to not have it in Vegas anymore.
dude. Honest to God, I think
stuck at the casinos or something. Yeah,
straight up, like it is such a great venue to wrap up racing. But yeah, I think kind of just going back, Kenny for sure is the people's champ. His story's insane, the way he kind of lets you into his life and like his struggles and everything that he's had. I think Hunter's very similar in that sense too, is like people kind of know their story. That both those dudes came from Inland. When I was watching the top three, I'm like, oh, these guys all are from across the pond, dude. Every one of these dudes. It was pretty rad, like these guys, all three, top three at that moment have all came from MXGP. And so there's a story with all of them. But yeah, I think with Hunter and Kenny, like it's the off the bike stories that most people are very well aware of. And so, yeah, it was insane, dude.
I don't know if you saw the stats that I posted about Kenny, like before Supercross, but the craziest stat to me is one, he's been winning. I mean, this is why has so much support. One, his personality is just great. He's always been that way. He's been charismatic and just very approachable his entire life since he was a kid. But he won his first MXGP when he was 15 years old. He's the youngest rider ever. And now he's the oldest champ. He has been racing professionally longer than almost any other professional rider at the moment. I don't think there's any rider that's even been racing professionally, period. And he just won the hardest champion, he just won the biggest championship in the world for a dirt bike. And all of his trials and tribulations in between injuries and all the teams, he's been through the ringer and he's come back like several times. And then on top of it, I mean, he's racing a bike that it's 10 years old. They haven't changed that motorcycle for 10. I mean, sure, they made a couple frame changes or something that nobody cares about, but it's essentially a 10-year-old bike on 20-year-old technology if you're talking Kickstarters and all of that. Yeah. And it's a non-factory team. They get support from Suzuki, but by no means are they a full works team at all, factory team at all. And then Larry Brooks has his storied history. Andy, unfortunately, has cancer that he's dealing with. And even Dustin Pipes, he was a privateer. I don't even know where all this came from, but he started this team from nothing, not even that long ago, 6 years ago,
probably maybe? About 8 years ago.
Is it 8 years ago?
Right. Wow. I was hovering around the 6 to 8 year marks. Is right when I started Ojo, and I remember they needed support.
Yeah, so okay.
But I definitely remember at the beginning, nothing against my bosses, but they're like, wait, are you sure you want to give him back? I'm like, dude, I used to sponsor him with Von Zipper, and he's a pretty good dude, and their program's pretty rad, I think we should hook him up, Yeah. But it's pretty amazing. And the thing that's really cool about what you just said is he beat him with speed. He was fast. There's no asterisk by it, right? So you're saying how long he's been racing? When he was 15, winning that race. And I remember that scrub on his Suzuki, by the way. Literally the side panel is going off the face of jump when he's on the Suzuki 1, But I remember that photo. But this year, and I remember that's what I said to, I think you guys in December, I'm like, he's going to be there every round this year, but he's going to be fast also. He's going to be very Cooper Webb-esque, where he's just kind of always in the spot, but he's faster than Cooper. Not all the time. But if you had to put money on it, just as far as the bets, just raw speed. And that's what's really cool about Kenny is just based on raw speed, he won the championship. I think that's what's really cool about it. It's not just some veteran that this is a real one. This is very real, very real.
Yeah. I've never been more stoked for
me neither.
Champion. Yeah.
Me neither. And it's like, that's the thing. It's a shame that Jet got hurt. I mean, dude, a false neutral to landing on your feet and snapping a talus in your foot. You think about that stuff, right? So it's like if somebody, and I don't think people are saying this, but like, well, that's cool that he won, but Jet wasn't there or something. No one's really saying that anymore. Granted, because it happened at the beginning of the year before anything started. So I know everybody was pretty open, rider-wise, is like, oh, shit. Okay, cool. Like, this does change my mindset. But if you think about the crash with Plessinger on his back, you think about the crash with, where he gets connected. I'm talking about Kenny. Gets collected with Plessinger. Then he gets collected with Hunter. that was pretty gnarly. You know, there's had a couple of big ones, you know, where it's like, you know, like it's just these championships, Supercross championships are so difficult to achieve. And you hate when it's an asterisk type year. And the coolest thing about this one is, no, dude, he's fast as absolute fast dude.
And it's not an asterisk year. And I love that, you know, it is in a lot of ways, especially because, you know, like we've talked about, like the championship is so long, it does end up largely becoming a battle of attrition. And he was, unfortunately, often the guy that was kind of falling off first. Not necessarily because of injury, but he would just start to fade. And I love that he was the one that was able to persevere through all of it. You know, Tomac was on it, and then he was very much not, you know, and you know, Webb never really picked up the pace. You know, Sexton was always kind of a crapshoot. And I just love that Kenny stayed with it. But like on Jets, well, for one, for Hunter to be a part of his story, overcoming living in his little brother's shadow is just, I think that is a big part of his story for sure. Absolutely. Like he was the guy when they first came over here, and then that very quickly changed as soon as Jet turned pro, and then Hunter was really pushed aside. And I love that he was able to come back around. What good is talent and speed? Just like with Stewart, what good is incredible talent and speed if you can't use it, if you're on the sidelines? And I think maybe asterisk last year because Jet got hurt last year, but then 2 years in a row, if it keeps happening, it's again, just like Stewart in the day. Yes, you absolutely, when he's on the track, can't really deny that he's the fastest person, but you have to be on the track. It's what it comes down to.
And it is.
Yeah, eventually it's just, you're not there. So you're not even included in the conversation anymore.
And it is so incredibly, you can make your own luck, but then there is shit luck too. Yeah, because
of course,
Hunter's crash in the whoops, dude, that's a risk instantly. Dude, that's insane. Whatever way he was falling was just the way he was going to hit the ground. That was a huge crash. And then you look at Tomac having to step through the bars. All three of those dudes, the top three guys, they walked away from ones that 100, dude, dislocated wrist, dude, anything. So you look at just those three guys, all had crashes that probably should have put them out. Dude, a lot of these guys get out for the season like Jet stomping his foot. So it's like, dude, those three incidents were big. So it's like, and so there's no disrespect to Jet getting hurt. It's just the sport is so incredibly difficult and tough, you know, mentally, obviously physically, and then there is luck involved. Doesn't matter, whatever way you shake it, dude. There's so much just dumb luck involved because of just where you land, how you land, whatever, you know.
It's like infinite variables that are just being thrown at you every turn, every second on the track. It's insane. And then like that doesn't even, it's not even taking into consideration all the practice laps they're doing. Oh, there's just so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And the fact to be able to survive it, if you can make it through the Supercross season healthy, you're amazing.
Yeah. That's what was cool to kind of see the top three. I mean, I know Tomac had to sit out around, you know, and obviously had bad luck, but just to see the top three just get through. We never had to guess, like, what if so-and-so never went out? Again, Tomac had some difficulty that would maybe put it towards that box, but top two guys, you never had to worry, like, oh, like if Hunter would have gone out like round 14 or 15. Oh, shit. Yeah. Was that handed to him? No, like, but at the end of the day, like this series, like, yeah, this thing was insane.
I think, the two best guys ended up where they should have ended up.
Yeah. You know, and then on the start and everything. Yeah. It was incredible. It was, it was
the atmosphere. I wish I could have been there. That atmosphere just must have been electric.
Yeah. You knew you were going to go watch some history.
Yeah.
Legitimately history. Yeah. It was wild. It was wild. We'll get him on the next one. So I'll hit him up. Because I definitely know he did really well. And I saw him briefly at the race. And I meant to go over and be like, dude, you know. But then I saw you got P7. I'm like, damn, dude, okay. He's always been fast, not just fast. Oh, dude, like potential.
He has a lot of talent. You can see it in his riding style is very balanced. He's kind of lanky.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I'm not going to compare him to Jet Lawrence, but he has the same like body. Mm-hmm. He does. He really does. He always has too. So if you look back even at Paulo 3 or 4 years ago, like he ran down Mumford, ran all these people down. And I don't know if that's when they put him on 450. I don't know, but he's just back where he belongs. He's still young enough and just maturing. Dirt biking's
I honestly don't really
tough.
know his story that well. Like, I don't even know where he's from.
Oh, he's from Idaho, and remember I sponsored him when he's on 80s with Von Zipper, like when he's literally on 80s or whatever.
Oh, no way.
And then,
okay.
Yeah. And
wow.
So yeah, he's originally from Idaho, moved out here kind of for racing and all that, and just he's kind of AEO was kind of maybe I don't want to say one of his big breaks, but he was always on the verge. I mean, people were looking at him. He was definitely a name, like, and when I say people, like factory teams, like, okay, great fill-in guy for sure. Yeah, I can't remember if he had Loretta's titles or not, but I'm close with them as it is, just him and the family and stuff. But yeah, I saw that he got a P7. I was just like,
and yeah, basically honestly, what's a national supercross, so, one of the few East-West.
That's impressive. That's an ode to Ollie Stone for sure, without question. He's just one of the best mechanics, and I feel like he's like still in his Ollie Stone is, I don't want to say prime because I don't think mechanics really go out at their prime necessarily, but prime as far as effort and late nights. And again, I know mechanics do it, but he's running a team funded, I think, from New York, actually. A team at that MX6 team's an East Coast team. Based out in California.
Or something.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool story. I don't know a lot of it, but it's like kids without fathers. It's this program where if you don't have a dad, you get this like surrogate dad kind of thing. But it's funded well. And I would kind of say, as far as the funding, I would kind of compare it to Mike Genova, where like they get paychecks, they get insurance and all this stuff. I don't know the bull backing with insurance and stuff like that, but it's run like a business. Yeah, you worked for that. I was never that with Mike Genova. Like, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks as if you worked in the spa business.
Yeah, I don't think many people really appreciated how big of a company that was. Like, the entire team was basically a write-off, right? I mean, like, they didn't. Yeah. I don't think they were making any money off of the team, and they ran it for. Are they still going in any way?
They're going. They're just honestly, they're smart. They're doing the Supercross only equivalent of running a team. Go to Arena Cross, like win that series, and then come do a couple over here. Like,
they're still doing WSX too, right?
Yeah, because there's all enthusiasts, or rather, Mike was an enthusiast to start anyways, and they have the best guys, Ryan Brees and Cole Thompson, I think, races for them. Or no, Politelli, Austin. So they have like talented dudes like riding the bikes. Obviously, the bikes are really good with Brayton and those guys at the end of their careers. Like, they had no problem jumping on that. Where Hep Suzuki is today, no one's afraid to jump on the bike anymore.
I mean, probably better funded than Hep, I would think. I mean, they just had some deep pockets. I mean, didn't he would take Genova would take like the entire company on a cruise every year, like a vacation.
Yeah,
for their holiday company.
Yeah, like Christmas vacation. Yeah, get your bonus, buy a pool, like Clark Griswold. Get the pool. He didn't get his bonus check. That sucks. But yeah, that MX6 team though, like kind of going back to what we're talking about, like it's funded really well. Ollie Stone like put together this like good motorcycle because again he's a really good mechanic, and just in today's world, you get some pretty good motors and suspension and I think everyone's, certain guys obviously are talented enough, like, with a high enough ceiling, like Derek.
Well, yeah, and Minnesota guy.
I'm not Zach Williams, but
what's his name? Henry Miller. Henry Miller.
Yes, Henry. Yeah, Zach Williams, Henry Miller, same thing. Just kidding.
Interchangeable.
It's like flip-flopper, dude. But they both shred, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like Miller's been around forever, and all of a sudden he's getting these really solid finishes, and it's definitely a testament to the bike and the program, and they're clearly throwing some good resources at it. That'd be awesome to have Kelley on. That would be great.
Yeah, get Ollie and Derek on.
Well, not to stay on Supercross for too long, but at least that last battle with the Deegs on the 250, I'm. Guy's so talented and fast, and I think he's really good for the sport just in terms of, just like his dad, he gets headlines and he understands that it's entertainment and is very entertaining to watch him, but I'm also glad he did win. I'm glad Davies got it.
Yeah, it was cool to see Davies like learn. Get another opportunity to do what he learned. And he did. He didn't do anything wild, didn't do anything crazy, but he learned from
that was some racecraft for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he chalked it up there. He went from freshman to a sophomore. Next year he's a junior. Following year he'll be a senior if he defends it. Then he's gonna go to college in the big bike. So he just got an opportunity to use some of the new skills that he acquired. And that's literally what he said without saying that. Gosh, I mean, I like Cole Davies, but he's still so young. His interviews are a trip. You'll hear him. He doesn't sit down, and obviously when the helmet goes on, all the smarts come alive. Not smarts, but all the like what he's fully focused on. You can tell he's fully focused on one thing. But it was cool to hear him say, like, I just cut down because last time I didn't cut down. And then when he went in, he literally just got an opportunity to do what he didn't do last time. So it was great. It was great. And Deegan was cool. Deegan loved it. Whether he did or not, it seemed, he's like, dude, what'd you tell him? He's like, dude, I haven't had a fun race in a long ass time, like killer. Now, I don't know how much fun he's going to have when there's 19 other Cole Davies on the track doing the same thing because they've already been at school, bro.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think
he might miss winning for a while. It's possible.
Potentially. But at the same time, like, dude,
we talked about
go out there. Yeah, he could go win Paula.
He could. It's very possible. There's just so many variables going into it. I hope he's in the mix right away. I don't want him to start winning right away. He has a long career ahead of him. I don't think he needs to go out and dominate. But yeah, he could show up and he'll definitely be a factor.
Yeah,
for sure,
I think that's why. I think because he has a long career ahead of him, that is why he's going to come out fast. Like, because when we all went from little bikes to big bikes, dude, I don't think I missed a start ever, dude. I mean, granted, it's not on that level, but like, dude, oh my gosh, twice as much power, and you're young where you have those spidey reflexes. Like, he's going to be ripping starts. Like, this is crazy easy, like. So I have a feeling he's just going to be up front. Like, it's just no matter what. But then everyone knows, and obviously he has good people around him and whatever, but everyone knows, dude, like, yeah, you can come out great on a 450, but man, when these things start getting buck wild on you,
late in the moto,
and things start to go wrong,
Oof.
And they toss you here and there. Yeah, you might still get the start, but then you're not going to forget that, and you're going to probably settle back in and want to just have a good moto.
Absolutely.
But he has smarter people than me around him, but he's going to go out there to go fast at first. He's not going to go out there just going, I want to have a solid, good moto and dude, he's going to go out there. And
he wants to win. Of course, I'm going to win this very first moto. Yeah, I'm gonna jet it and just perfect season, rookie season.
Oh, yeah. Dude, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? That's what's so cool about these top 1%ers, dude. Is that the smartest way to think? Well, maybe not, but like, why would you not think that? Why would you not?
Yeah, and I've been going back through all this old Stewie footage and stuff, and he was just, it's kind of the same. I think Deegan, not many people have come into the 450s premier class in the same way that Deegan is. Maybe RC, Stewart. I don't honestly, not even Jet, because Jet was not absolutely dominant on a 250. He won, but he wasn't getting near perfect seasons. But other than that, maybe Villapoto too. But other than that, there haven't been many people in this position where they're coming from like basically absolute dominance, indoors, outdoors, from 250s going into 450s. The problem is he only thinks, like, he doesn't know losing right now. Really. Yeah, he lost this past weekend, but like, he thinks he should win every single time he is out there, and that it can, he could deliver, but when it isn't going his way, that's when they start to panic. It can be pretty spectacular when it doesn't work out. They're trying as hard as they ever have, and it's just, like you said, they're going up against these 1%ers. Jet, one of the best ever. Tomac, if he's on, one of the best ever. A bunch of these guys are they're some of the best riders that have ever ridden a motorcycle, and they're going to be firing. I don't even know who's coming off the injured list right now, too.
It's wild. I wonder how many of them still see red. You know what I mean? Like, quote unquote, like see red, like Blake Baggett saw red sometimes, There's certain guys that see red. I think Jet still sees red sometimes. Like when he tried to double that thing at Hangtown and I mean, big crash, you know.
Just
I don't
destroyed
think
him.
I'd have to. I mean, if I could sit there, if I could have Eli in front of me right now, I'd want to ask him, like, do you still see red, or is your stuff still, or do you even not even know how to go anymore? But you could go right there, but you're still like very coherent on like what's going on. You know how much time is still left, like what lap you're on. Whereas I think there's some guys that just, it could be the big swaps, it could be some big crashes, whatever you want to call it. But Deegan still sees red, you know, like there's some guys that still see red. And it's in the generally it's in the 250 class generally.
Generally,
you know?
but
But
450s,
now,
the only other person I can think of, and he's not really going to factor into the championship, probably, but you get Deegan and Barsha together.
sure, yes,
There's some red.
it's red. Yeah, like
Especially
bro,
like,
no. Yeah, you're gonna be like, did you even like? They don't know what lap it. Like they don't know.
no.
Like it's like MMA fighters go back to the corner a lot of times, and they're like, they don't know what round it is, and they do 4 or 5 rounds. And they don't know what round it is. Hey, what round is it? Because they're just so locked in,
Fully in the
you
zone.
know. And I
Yeah.
there's some of those guys that have that, and I think the coolest thing about that youth and whatever that Deegan has is that he's fully capable of riding in the red. At this point, I have no reason to not think otherwise. Maybe his crash at Hangtown, pretty big one.
Mhm.
He has lost some races, but he has had to come back from, whoa, I got to go home and do some homework. He's had to do homework. That's for sure. The last 2 Supercross, his lights, 250 class, he started off terrible, like the last 2 years, you know? So he definitely knows how to do his homework. But to your point, though, I don't think it changes when he gets on the track that he doesn't expect to win. It's just like, holy shit, I can't believe I didn't win. We need to figure out what went wrong, you know? That's going to be a pretty cool, like, kind of just formula that we're going to get this experiment that we're going to get to watch, dude.
I think, especially, like that. There's going to be some welcome to the pros moments because he's never really battled anybody that gives it back to him in the same way. They try to, but they don't have that. Like you said, I think that's a great way of putting it. Like seeing red, like if he comes in on Barsha, tries to get all aggro on Barsha, which hopefully he knows not to do. But I could totally see a scenario like that happening. He has never had to deal with that type of retaliation before, where somebody will, or Anderson is the same way, where somebody will hunt him down on the track. The entire purpose they're on the track still is to go take that guy out.
Do not do that coming into any tight sections.
Right.
You might want to do that as you're exiting a tight section, and now you got some open track.
You have another mile and a half of open section.
Because if it's like another little S turn coming up, Ferrandis is going to give you the business, dude.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, again, he's going back to what you said. He's never really had anybody that he's had to deal with that. Where it's, if you even think about the 250 class in its own right, there was no Hampshire left. A Hammerker might have tried to give it to him, but it wasn't like when Ferrandis and Craig were going at it, when it's like, you're going to have these veterans still. There wasn't anybody, there weren't any grown men. He wasn't racing any grown men at all. Because who was he battling with? Ryder D isn't afraid of him, but he just can't get close enough to him.
Yeah, but Kitchen's probably the closest in terms of just raw speed, but he did not have it this year. Even when
punching bags with the
exactly.
It's aggro. Aggro.
Totally. Deegan is more Jason Lawrence back in the day, but with crazy drive and determination. Like he's willing to give the business, and then he can back it up by just running away from him and outlasting everybody, which I think Lawrence was never a possibility for him.
No, Lawrence wasn't that aggro. But even though it doesn't come off as aggro per se with Haiden, it's like, he's kind of aggro, dude. His dad was kind of aggro.
Oh, he is.
They're aggro, and it's
like, I love the chip on their shoulder. There's no reason. He's probably the wealthiest person on the track. Even when he was in SMX, he was the wealthiest person at the track. Wealthiest rider, other than anybody that's funded by a billionaire. But their family has like an insane amount of money. And I love that that drive has been passed down to, that the drive that Deegan had to go from basically nothing.
Yeah.
He came from nothing.
Yeah. What, Nebraska?
It's just like
a truck.
Yeah. He's just a dude.
Like the first generation. Well,
they are.
Like he's handing Haiden a tractor to go build his. Did you know Haiden had to prep the track? Okay, granted, he had a track, but like he had to have his homework done, and he was not riding that track And no one, like, till he prepped that track for all these other people too. So like there were rules, like they had rules. And to your point, so it's
yeah. I mean, you're given what you're, it's total luck of the draw where you're, what you're born into. But I think, I heard it on another podcast, but I mean, like, Brian Deegan he's a marketing genius. What he built, and then the sheer drive and determination and knowing how to play the game so well, and then to be able to pass that down in any way to your own kids in a completely different way than it was given to him. Like you said, like he didn't have a track to prep. He didn't have anything. He had a truck that he brought from Nebraska. And to be able to instill that in one way or another onto his kid, I think it's amazing. And yeah, Haiden has all of that drive that his father had, plus all the resources, plus all of the knowledge that his father gained through his own racing and dealing with all of the pressure and everything. And he's a force. I'm excited to see where his career goes, but I also can't stand him at times. I still can't help but root against him at times. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. I just, want people to be able to see the games that he's playing, which it's happening 100% of the time.
Yep. Because he knows, and Brian knows, like, you can have every resource in the world, but there is never a guarantee in anything. Yeah. And did Brian become a marketing genius because of the guessing game? I mean, he didn't know any of this was going to work. Sure. He didn't know. He thought he just played what he thought was right, had big balls to try it out. And maybe we should take this Sharpie Metal Militia and make some stickers. Man, maybe we should put it on t-shirts. I know this guy that's a distributor for O'Neill. Maybe they'd want to pick it up. Like, yeah, there's all just ideas. And then you have the balls to go pick up the phone or to actually do it. And so I think they prepare for everything they can, but then it's, hey, dude, here's the keys, Haiden. We still don't know what's going to happen. We're going to do everything we can. Yeah, you have the resources, but if I had the tractor when I was a kid in Nebraska, my dad would probably make me prep that damn thing. I wish I had the tractor. Now we do. You're going to go prep the track after your homework's done. Just all these basic things, but they definitely just prepare as best they can. And then they kind of just, all right, here we go. The gate drops, the bullshit stops, and the games, you play the games, all that stuff. It's all part of sport, Yeah. It's all part of sport. And that's what's so fun to watch, them kind of do their thing.
And I love that we're in this, that moto has been around long enough that we're going into this second generation of athletes and riders. And, it's a family thing, and seeing the knowledge being passed down. It's just like this constant progression, like when I started following it in 92 was the first year I had any idea of what was going on. And there were some legacy, like Bailey had already come and gone at that point, and his dad, and there were some legacy riders back then, but not like it is now. I mean, there's like so many sons of former pros that are in it in one way or another. And just like that constant passing down of knowledge, I think it progresses the actual riding aspect of the sport that much further and just makes it that much deeper. I think it's cool. I feel lucky to be in this kind of era of moto. It's like an exciting period.
Yeah, it really is. You're absolutely right. Everyone's so much smarter off the bike now, on the bike. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. No doubt. So yeah, it's going to be interesting outdoors. Couple weeks.
Yeah. 250s. And it's somebody other than Deegan will win it. It's kind of a crapshoot. Is there anybody that's like turning, like Dudney is supposed to be amazing outdoors, right?
Yeah, I think Cole Davies is going to just be tough. I think Cole's going to be tough. Yeah, he's better outdoors. Like, he's not a Supercross specialist, so he's better outdoor. That's his deal. Like, last year, we would have saw it. If he didn't break his everything. Yeah, he even said in the broadcast, like, I'm an outdoor guy. I didn't grow up riding Supercross, I mean, he's obviously really good in whoops, all that. Like, he's really good for sure. Yeah. But he's like more comfortable. He's been more comfortable on outdoor stuff than Supercross. So yeah, it's going to be cool to watch.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess we just really haven't seen him. I know he won that one Budds Creek or whatever, but that was just kind of a fluke of AMA rules. National. last year. He ended up, I don't know if he won the overall, but he was credited with a moto win because I think Shimoda and Deegan like jumped on a red cross flag.
And that was coming back from his humorous stuff.
Yes, it was like his second race back.
So wait, he's being that far up there. Yeah. Way bigger now too. He's a different looking. He looks bigger. He's just bigger. You're like, whoa, definitely looks different. So I think I'd call him a favorite. I don't know who else is gonna.
I have no idea. I want the best for Shimoda. Hopefully he comes out firing. I don't even know if he's healthy or not. I have no idea. I hope he does something. Other than that, I think it's wide open.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bail a little bit. I don't think I will, but we have to go shopping.
Oh, okay, no worries. Got Costco run. Yeah. Emergency Costco run.
Wild Fork. It's almost like a meat warehouse. They have all sorts of weird shit. Little pigs and stuff. It's crazy.
Oh, you mean like full pigs you can just buy?
Yeah, like a frozen pig. Yeah. Wild Fork. It's like a Costco of meat and stuff. It's wild. Okay. It's running Brookers at Adams. It's a trip, dude.
Okay. All right. I'm into it.
Yeah.
So, you say you're vegetarian now, is what you're saying?
Yes, you were vegetarian. Starting tomorrow.
Just eat this one last pig. Full pig. So you went to probably, I don't know how many races you went to this year, but RC gets bagged on a lot in the broadcast because of his call, and he tends to be a little too vanilla, and he I feel like he bites his tongue a lot, and he makes up words here and there, and he gets a lot of crap online. I think some of that is deserved, but I think what a lot of people are completely forgetting is how amazing he was. He's the best rider ever. The GOAT is not just an honorary term because he was really good and he's a good guy and all that stuff. He was insane on a motorcycle. And he's so humble that even in his later days, when he was beating James Stewart straight up, he was beating James Stewart on a weekly basis. Even when he would do that, he was still humble and still giving credit to how hard everybody works and the team and how hard James is to race and all that stuff. He was his demeanor, which I had forgotten about, like, especially in his later years. I've been going back through some old footage. His demeanor was almost like it is on the broadcast now. He just he wasn't going to talk crap on anybody. If he was upset, or if he didn't do well, he almost always blamed it on himself. He gave credit to anybody that was out on the track. And I think he's underappreciated as a commentator. They've kept him on because, NBC knows who he is. Anybody who's been doing this for 10 plus years, the broadcasting part. But he's such a great example of how to be like a champion and the mentality that you need to have to remain in people's good graces and not burn bridges, but then just not worrying about all the unnecessary stuff around it when he was racing. And then feel like he's really brought that to the broadcast. And it comes off as not being honest in a way and not just calling a spade when the AMA makes a ridiculous decision or something like that. And he'll do that here and there. But anyways, so what I started going back through, because Roczen just won on a...
Well, before you get to the stats, I want to point out something you said that I think was really poignant and really important to bring to light. It's almost, if you go back to his old interviews and stuff, the way he was respectful and a champion and like didn't talk shit, this or that, like kind of, I don't want to say stayed in his lane, but just the way his interviews were. And you said it's very similar to the way he broadcasts. It's kind of what you said. I think if people, when they talk smack on Vital or whatever they want to say, it's almost like you could have a little clip of him doing his interviews and just go, well, hold on, give me 45 seconds. Watch this.
Yeah.
And then have him come back and say, okay, do you not see similarities where he talks today? He should have been saying this and this, but he didn't. Granted, maybe not the best vocabulary is what it is, but I think, now, does that make it right or wrong on the broadcast? Should he be the guy on the broadcast? I think he should. That's what you said, though. It's like, he's just being honorable and a champion on the broadcast. He really sparked like piqued my interest. So, whoa, you're right. Like I want to go look at some of his interviews because, yeah, like
I'll send some your way, man. Dude, like even after 05 when Stewart landed on him twice in a few weeks. Like they had some, more or less. Like they had some really great battles. But those even after Stewart, they both it could have been catastrophic for both.
Dude, Stewart was like snoring. He was so knocked out.
Out.
Just jawed. I mean, the
that
ones
hit
that like
so hard,
like the ones in boxing stuff that like hit the spot, and you're like, whoa. And I tell you what, RC red line, he saw red. He would see red.
Yes, he saw red. I think a little. He could come back out of it. He'd black out here and there, but he'd come back out of it. I think more than Stewart. Sure. So they have that big crash. RC still gets Stewart's out completely, just out cold. Stewart's done for the day. RC gets back up, still finishes second in that moto when he just had like such a gnarly. He landed.
Dude, the mark on his back, the dump on his back.
So bad. Podium interview. I don't know what the guy was thinking. I like to think that he wasn't trying to take me out, but I just don't know what he was thinking. And you see his arms go up like that, and he's like, dude. And then that's it. Yeah. There's no like crazy anger. He kept his emotions like so in check. And he's not one of those guys that seems like he's without emotion. He just kept it so professional. I think maybe at that point in his career, what else did he have to prove? That level of professionalism, especially in such a hard sport when you're you're coming straight off the track and then Aaron Bates is yelling in your ear, asking you questions. It's a huge testament to why RC is still doing the commentating now. But okay, so I want to go into just a quick stat.
Yeah.
And this is something that came up because Roczen just won on a nearly 10-year-old motorcycle that he says he hasn't changed for this engine swap sounds like it was the biggest change he's done in 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm talking RC stats. In 03, he wins indoors and outdoors on the CR250, then gets hurt before Supercross for 04. So he's out for the entirety of Supercross, doesn't race a single round. So he's on a CR250 in 03. Next, he goes to outdoors, races the CR450 outdoors, wins that championship. Perfect season. Second perfect season. Next year, he goes to Suzuki, RM250 indoors, another new bike, wins that championship. Then goes outdoors on a brand new RMZ 450 and wins that championship outdoors. 4 championships in a row he won on 4 different bikes. 4 consecutive championships. And that's just, again, I think speaks to his drive and determination to just, I can't imagine the amount of testing they did for each one of those bikes. And then to be able to adjust to it. And everybody, now you hear about people complaining about, I'm not getting enough power out of this. The suspension's off. Got to do a few clicks here and there. When RC is on the broadcast, that type of stuff has got to be going back through his mind.
For sure. Well, it's ironic that you brought that up. You're like 4 different championships, 4 different bikes. And I literally wanted to interrupt and be like, yeah, just roll the bars back and drop the ass in on any one of them. I don't give a shit. That's what I want. Roll it back, bro.
Exactly. I'm good.
Give a fuck about Showa, KYB, you call it.
Right.
And then I'm not joking. That's what I was thinking when you said it. And then you're like, imagine the testing. And I'm like, okay, there was, but like realistically, he wanted to be right here. It made me think about the boys at Kelley right now, dealing with what they're dealing with. So nobody knows what's going on back there. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I would like to think that they will give you what you want or meet you in the middle of something. I like to believe that. At the same time, are they going to cut the C, drop the ass in, and roll the bars back like they did for RC? Probably not. But that's not what we're talking about necessarily. It's just
it is though. It is. It's like I wasn't even trying to make
like the determination and drive that dude had Just put me here, dude, and just let me do my thing. Just trust me. Like we're gonna go win. We're gonna win for this thing. Just put me right here, make that thing dead in the back, and like I'm determined and driven enough to go get this done.
I will make the most out of any motorcycle you give me.
And then who else did that? The Lopez did that. Weimers, I don't know how he rides it. I don't really
listen to their podcast, Title 24, but he was saying how he knew by the end of 30, he just could barely hold on to the bike just because of the way it was, the frame. And it was
the end of his motos. That's right. Remember, he goes, I had to win the first one because I couldn't win the second.
Yeah. Like I just couldn't hang on to the thing. So who knows if he would have had the same argument if he was on another bike. Who knows?
Yeah.
But because that was the only bike he ever rode in his career. But yeah, I think RC's just, I mean, I wasn't even trying to make the argument that, guys today are, pussies or anything like that, but it's just, it is different. Like the level has definitely been elevated. Like there are more, I think, very, very talented, very multifaceted, fast guys than maybe there were back then. But regardless, you step up to, you meet the moment, and how finicky people are today it didn't matter to RC. It didn't matter to him.
No. I think definitely in Supercross, man and machine is closer than it's been ever. It's always going to be man on any motorcycle, straight up, like any motorcycle.
Which is what's so great about this sport.
Anything. Yeah, MotoGP, MXGP, anything, especially off-road. It's always going to be the man. But machine and Supercross, for sure, like will make a difference, will help, especially when you got 5 guys that are equal men. And then now it does kind of start to go down to the machine a little bit. But I think what you said with RC kind of thinking in the back of his head what he wants to say, maybe kind of how he barked at Daniel Blair. Oh, how is it down here or whatever? Like because he is a shithead probably in his head. He's a punk. He's a competitor. He's 1%.
He's a human being.
They all have that, like that boxer mentality, dude. And so he's got it in him. It's probably like he just regulates it so hard because he'll say something savage, dude, and be like canceled or something. Like, honestly, I mean, he probably just has some savage shit to say. And yeah, just like back of his mind, this guy, oh my God, this guy, So yeah, it's probably more so on the weighing on the side of caution. It got him this far. Probably don't want to change it up yet, anytime soon. So yeah, he kind of puts the muzzle on, I think, to a certain extent. Yeah, he probably, he's been on long enough now that you're going to hear the same thing. I say the same shit. We all say the same shit to a certain extent in our lives.
Of course. So many everybody's repeating stories and phrases and all of that stuff. And I make up words all the time too. It's just nobody's recording me.
Exactly. So it's like, but he's the GOAT, and you can't take that away from him. Matt Walker hooked him up with the name, the GOAT, and it's like at the end of the day, respect is respect. But
I think that, like you said, Matt Walker gave that to him long before his career was over.
Yeah.
Before Carmichael's career was over. You just saw how hard the guy worked.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think, like I was saying about generations, how far back this sport goes, it goes back far enough that most of the kids that are watching, half of the demographic that's watching Supercross has never seen clips of RC even racing a motorcycle.
Yeah.
He retired 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think that, actually, and I agree with you. And I think, but to add to that, I think the disappointing part is, I think a lot of the guys that are complaining online have seen him race. I think a lot of guys on Vital have seen him race. And they're like, I love him as on the bike, but off the bike. So yes, I think you're right. But I think the worst part about it is, I think most of the people complaining didn't see him ride. And they just, for whatever reason, like,
they forget.
Maybe they are separating it, saying, hey, I'm cool over here. I'm not cool over here. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's necessarily maybe wrong either, but
I have the same complaint. I get upset. I yell at the screen for sure. And I'm like, dude, just like say what is happening. And that is why I think Stewart's awesome on
Stewart's
broadcast. He's sharp. He's funny. He has really interesting insights that I've never even considered. And I love, he and Wigan doing the nationals do such an awesome job. Yeah. And I think it's just fresh, but give Stewart another 20 years in this, another 10 years doing it. Maybe we'll start, be like, or maybe he'll come around and realize he is maybe he's not best served saying the certain things that he's saying. I think overall, it's hard. I've heard Jason Thomas talking about just how hard it is to do the live commentating. People talk in your ear. You're on NBC, so you have to keep it clean. And there's certain things you can't say, and you have to segue into this talking point and bringing it down to the floor and all that. There's so many factors going on. I understand people's frustrations, but you cannot you can't separate the RC, the racer, from RC, the commentator. They're one and the same. And I think there has to be respect given.
You know, it's funny
because he's the best that there ever was.
You know, it's funny. This is making me think. RC commentates exactly how he wrote. Like looser, freer. I don't think that James is getting talked to, but James isn't like hyper focused on making sure that those guys are getting the right work.
You think he's seeing red when he's commentating too?
Well, I think Ricky's like, this is the right way to do it. I need to concentrate on that. And he's like really concentrating on doing it right and correctly. Whereas James, I don't think he purposely talks through it. But I mean, he says Warder. He says some crazy words, dude. They're all Haiden City.
Yeah, there's some Haiden City talk in there for sure.
There's some Haiden City.
But that's good. I like some flavor. I want to have some flavor in there.
But where RC will never be as good as him is that, you know, people forget, or they don't know that his, you know, Big James is an amazing car builder. Like he restores some of the most beautiful cars. His collection's awesome. And he's like a kind of a hands-on mechanic type guy. Mm-hmm. Listen to James talk about a motorcycle. He'll tell you what that shock's doing. He was talking about how Sexton's KTM was packing a lot. Yeah. Like it wasn't following the ruts. And then he was talking about how much rebound, you know, they have a lot more rebound in jet shock, and you can see it driving out of corners. He wasn't thinking about that. He sees it and he saw it and he talks about it. RC might see that stuff, maybe not know how to articulate it or not, but if we're drawing comparisons, that's where James has an additional tool where he really could look at the motorcycle and talk about it. Yeah, he's very technical.
Yeah, that's where I'm like a little. I honestly, I get like a little, not confused, but I feel like there's conflicting stories going on, because I always heard that when he was racing, he wasn't that great at testing for whatever reason. Maybe he wasn't great at articulating what he was feeling. He knew what he was feeling. He knew what he wanted to change it, but he couldn't communicate that to the mechanics or technicians for whatever reason. But then you're right. He does this great call on the broadcast. I remember a few years ago when Masterpool was like killing it on 450s as privateer at Colorado. He was like, you know, he had already had like a couple good finishes in like Colorado. He's like, watch Masterpool, because he's on a stock bike. That bike is going to work better there. It's not going to bind up as much. It can flex more. And whether or not he was right about the bike, Masterpool like killed it in Colorado, and he kind of called it there. And so that's where I was always like, but I always heard he wasn't very good at testing, but then at the same time, he's very knowledgeable, and maybe he doesn't know where a shim goes in a fork, but he can tell what's happening on the bike. Well, I've always been a little confused by that, but I think that's actually a great point. They commentate like they rode. Like James was like the crazy natural talent who just like let it rip. And RC was maybe not so calculated, but wanted to do it the right way. And but still got a little buck wild going through.
It's like, I never thought of that way either until we're like drawing a comparison.
That's funny.
Actually, it all makes a lot of sense to me right now. It's good.
All right.
I think I got to run. Jesse. I think she left.
She left. I gotta go get this pig, man.
Dude, I think she's like, probably went to O'Connell's. Get a drink or something. For sure.
All right. That was Two Spodes. I hope you guys enjoyed. We always are trying to bring it as often as possible. Lately, there have been technical issues and other things arising. Lives are happening all the time. But we want to keep doing this as much as we possibly can. And We would love to see what you think, hear what you think, reviews, anything, comments on our Instagram or anywhere you can leave a comment. YouTube, we appreciate any feedback you can give us. It really helps. And we will be back next week with a follow-up to the opening round of the Nationals. So we'll see you then.